Climate change is one of the greatest challenges facing humanity today, and by 2100, its impact will be felt in every corner of the globe. While predictions vary depending on human action, AI models help us visualize multiple possible futures, from catastrophic breakdowns to innovative adaptations that reshape civilization. The question is not just whether the Earth will survive, but what life will look like for humanity at the end of this century. Rising seas and submerged cities. One of the most visible consequences of climate change is the rise in sea levels. AI simulations suggest that by 2100, global sea levels could rise between 1 and 3 meters, depending on how quickly polar ice sheets melt. This may sound modest, but the effect is staggering. Major cities like Miami, Jakarta, and Dhaka could be partially underwater, while coastal regions in Asia and Africa face mass displacement. Entire nations such as the Maldives or Kiribati could disappear beneath the waves. In response, humanity may see the rise of floating megacities, self-sustaining platforms built on the ocean, powered by renewable energy and designed to house millions of climate refugees. Just as skyscrapers transformed the 20th century, floating cities could define the 21st. Extreme weather becomes the new normal. AI also predicts that by 2100, extreme weather will no longer be extreme. It will be the everyday reality. Hurricanes, floods, droughts, and heat waves will intensify as global temperatures climb. The frequency of Category 5 storms could double, devastating regions along the Atlantic and Pacific. Heat waves may reach deadly levels, making some areas in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia uninhabitable during summer months. To survive, humanity will adapt with climate-proof infrastructure, heat-resistant building materials, underground cooling systems, and massive seawalls. Cities may shift toward designs that mimic nature, with green roofs, artificial forests, and advanced water recycling systems built into every neighborhood. Agriculture and the future of food. One of the greatest challenges of climate change will be feeding a global population expected to exceed 10 billion by 2100. Rising temperatures and shifting rainfall patterns threaten traditional farming, especially in regions that already face water scarcity. AI predicts widespread agricultural collapse in areas like sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia unless dramatic innovations occur. The solution may lie in vertical farming, hydroponics, and lab-grown foods. Instead of sprawling farmlands, cities may host giant indoor farms powered by solar energy, producing crops year-round without soil. Meanwhile, lab-grown meat, algae-based protein, and genetically engineered crops could become the dietary staples of the future. Farming as we know it today may all but disappear, replaced by highly efficient, AI-managed food production systems. Mass migration and global demographics. Perhaps the most dramatic social consequence of climate change, by 2100, will be mass migration. Rising seas, drought, and heat will push billions of people out of their homelands. AI models suggest that climate migration could reshape the global population map more than wars or politics ever have. Northern regions such as Canada, Scandinavia, and Russia may become population centers, as warming temperatures make them more habitable, while equatorial regions face depopulation. This shift will spark geopolitical tensions as nations struggle with resource distribution, immigration policies, and cultural integration. In some scenarios, entire countries may relocate, with governments in exile ruling from abroad while their homelands lie underwater. Humanity may be forced to redefine borders, sovereignty, and even the concept of nationality itself. Energy and the global shift to sustainability. AI predicts that the energy landscape of 2100 will look completely different from today. Fossil fuels, if still in use, will be relics of the past. Instead, humanity will rely on a mix of fusion energy, advanced solar power, and large-scale wind and tidal systems. Fusion, in particular, could provide limitless clean energy, eliminating the emissions that fuel climate change. By the late 21st century, entire cities may run on energy microgrids, localized, self-sufficient systems that generate and store power. Buildings will no longer just consume electricity. They will produce it with solar windows, energy harvesting walls, and roads that convert traffic pressure into electricity. This shift will not only curb climate change, but also empower developing nations to leapfrog past fossil fuel dependence and achieve energy independence. However, the transition will not be smooth. AI simulations warn of economic instability during the energy shift, as oil-rich nations lose power and industries tied to fossil fuels collapse. How humanity manages this transition will determine whether 2100 is remembered as an age of renewal or one of conflict. The role of climate engineering. By 2100, humanity may not only adapt to climate change, but also actively reshape the planet's climate. Geoengineering technologies, once controversial, could become mainstream. AI predicts large-scale projects such as space mirrors, giant reflective satellites positioned to deflect sunlight and cool the Earth. Stratospheric aerosols, particles released into the atmosphere to mimic volcanic cooling effects. Ocean fertilization, stimulating plankton growth to absorb more carbon dioxide. While these solutions could buy humanity time, they also come with enormous risks. Tampering with Earth's climate may trigger unintended consequences, altering rainfall patterns, creating political conflicts over who controls the weather, or even destabilizing ecosystems further. By 2100, the world may live under a system of AI-managed climate control, where algorithms monitor global conditions and adjust geoengineering tools in real time. This could usher in a new era of environmental stability, or leave humanity dangerously dependent on machines to maintain a fragile balance. The future of health and human survival. Climate change will also affect human health in profound ways. Rising temperatures will expand the range of tropical diseases, spreading malaria, dengue, and other illnesses into new regions. Heat-related deaths could skyrocket in areas unable to adapt, while air pollution and water scarcity create chronic public health crises. To counter this, medical systems in 2100 may be deeply integrated with climate adaptation. Hospitals could be climate-resilient hubs powered by renewable energy and stocked with AI-managed medical supplies. New vaccines, genetically engineered crops, and even bioengineered humans may emerge as solutions. Humans adapted to withstand extreme heat or resist climate-driven diseases. Social inequality in a warmer world. One of the biggest challenges of climate change will be inequality. AI warns that wealthier nations will adapt more easily, building sea defenses, advanced infrastructure, and climate-proof food systems. Poorer nations, however, may face devastating losses, leading to a new global divide not of ideology or economy, but of climate resilience. If left unchecked, this divide could fuel international conflict, as climate refugees seek survival in regions better prepared for the future. By 2100, global cooperation will determine whether humanity achieves balance, or descends into a century defined by survival struggles. The oceanic future. The oceans will play a central role in shaping human life by 2100. Rising seas will threaten coastlines, but oceans will also become one of the greatest sources of opportunity. AI predicts that humanity will increasingly rely on oceans for food, energy, and living space. Underwater farms cultivating seaweed and algae could become global food staples, replacing resource-intensive agriculture. Floating solar farms and tidal energy systems may power coastal megacities. Entire populations could move onto ocean-based platforms, cities that drift across the seas like giant ships, housing millions in climate-resilient habitats. At the same time, AI warns of the risk of ocean collapse if current trends continue. Overfishing, acidification, and warming waters could devastate marine biodiversity. By 2100, humans may face a stark choice: treat oceans as partners in survival, or watch them turn into lifeless deserts. Technology as humanity's lifeline. Technology will be humanity's greatest ally in adapting to climate change. AI-managed sensors may blanket the globe, monitoring weather, water levels, and soil health in real time. Predictive AI could warn populations of disasters weeks in advance, reducing loss of life. Housing will transform into climate-adaptive structures. Smart buildings that regulate temperature, resist flooding, and even shift location if necessary. Entire cities may be built on modular foundations, able to move inland as seas rise, or adjust architecture based on environmental conditions. Transportation could also adapt to climate realities. Electric airships may replace airplanes for long-distance travel, reducing emissions and operating in regions where heat or storms make traditional aviation risky. In areas prone to flooding, amphibious vehicles and elevated rail systems may dominate. The cultural impact of a warming world. Beyond technology and politics, climate change will leave a profound mark on human culture. By 2100, people may live with a collective memory of loss, coastlines swallowed, species extinct, and ancient cities abandoned. This could give rise to new forms of art, literature, and spirituality centered on resilience, survival, and the relationship between humanity and nature. AI predicts that cultural traditions may shift around climate rituals, annual remembrance of drowned nations, festivals celebrating restored ecosystems, or global ceremonies honoring cooperation in the face of crisis. Just as industrialization reshaped art and philosophy in the 19th century, climate change could define human identity in the 22nd. Hope or collapse? AI simulations offer two broad visions of 2100. In one, humanity acts decisively, embracing renewable energy, geoengineering, and global cooperation. The result is a world of floating cities, restored ecosystems, and resilient societies thriving in harmony with Earth's limits. In the other, humanity delays too long, leading to runaway climate chaos, mass migrations, and social collapse. The difference between these futures lies in choices made today. AI does not predict inevitability, it predicts possibilities. By 2100, climate change will either be remembered as humanity's greatest crisis or its greatest triumph. By the end of the century, Earth will look drastically different from today. Some coastlines will vanish, new megacities will rise, and billions will live in ways our ancestors could not imagine. Whether this world is defined by scarcity and survival or innovation and resilience depends entirely on how humanity responds now. AI's prediction is clear. The world of 2100 will not be the end of civilization, but a test of whether humanity can evolve fast enough to meet the challenges of its own making.